Chapter 2. I had my nap and worked hard to do nothing for the early evening hours. Eventually, I arrived back at Lucky Bonds and Investigations at 7 p.m. Receptionist Kathy never stayed late. It was one of the unspoken rules around the office. You never asked for Kathy's assistance after 4:45 p.m. If you needed Kathy's help past 4:45 p.m., you would have to save it for the morning. When I entered the office, I heard a sound that reminded me of one of those professional vacuum cleaners that could suck the silicone out of fake boobs. As I walked to the back corner of the office, I discovered the sound wasn't coming from a vacuum, but from Alison. Upon closer inspection, I found that Alison was eating fried chicken and sucking every edible morsel she could. The bones were picked cleaner than century-old bodily remains discovered in the ground. Didn't that chicken suffer enough? I asked. Oh, Matty! Alison gasped for air like she had been submerged in water. I was making sure that I got every last part of this piece of fried chicken. It could come down to whether I'm satisfied or whether I'm full. Suddenly, I'm not hungry, I sighed. Are you sure? We got some food over here. Mariah perked up, having been scanning Reddit posts on her phone. I turned to find steaming chicken, potatoes, coleslaw, and diet soda on a nearby desktop. What about our sushi leftovers? I asked Mariah. I ate mine for lunner. Mariah shrugged. You're a runner? Since when? No, lunner. A meal between lunch and dinner. Alison stared me down like I didn't know that 2 + 2 = 4. Fine, I'll save my sushi for breakfast. I might not be intelligent, but I was not going to pass up my chance for free food. I filled up a plate of chicken while Alison eyed me like an unfriendly security guard. No doubt she was hoping that she'd be able to suck some more chicken into oblivion. We can leave in a few, Mariah informed me as I chowed down. Stake out the restaurant. I have to change first! Alison took a giant spoon of coleslaw and ate it like ice cream. What have you been doing for the last 7 hours? I questioned, eyeing the clock. I had to charge my stun gun, Alison surmised. Don't worry, I keep emergency outfits in the car. Alison left in a flash of purple spandex and lime. I turned to Alison with a skeptical eye. Do you think this emergency outfit is less bright? If anything, I feel like the emergency outfit is going to be more obnoxious. The three of us once again got into Alison's car and headed to Stampy's diner. I better get some gas money, Alison muttered as she started the car. Gas is so expensive. I've been tempted to sleep with men just so they could cover my gas bills. Is that a thing? I asked curiously. Specifically, men paying for your gas? Yes, it's called a gas job. That is not real, Mariah barked to Alison. Gas jobs are not a thing. My cousin Lacey did a gas job once, and she drives a Hummer. That guy spent over $100 to fill up her tank. We parked right outside the 24/7 diner. Stampy's diner attracted 3 kinds of people: senior citizens who wanted help with constipation, cheap people who loved a deal or a coupon, and those who didn't have taste buds. Before we go in, make sure you have a good look at Sandra Volsik's mugshot. I handed the mugshot over to Alison and Mariah. Sandra had been picked up for a drug possession charge, and her mugshot made Sandra look like she was very familiar with drugs. Yeah, I've seen her before, Alison nodded. I got this. Are you sure? You can be visually challenged, I muttered softly. The one who will be visually challenged tonight is Sandra, with my gun. No guns! Let's go. Sandra's going to be off the clock soon, Mariah snarled. We entered as inconspicuously as we could, which was hard considering Alison's emergency outfit was a navy blue leather jacket with accompanying leather pants. She looked like an off-the-clock dominatrix. A few of the older patrons eyed us with judging eyes. Alison was like a duck's back when it came to judgment. Judgment slid right off. Should we get some dessert? Alison asked, intensely gazing at the case full of pies as if one of them held a clue to a piece of treasure. I mean, you can't have chicken without dessert, and that French silk pie looks so damn tasty. We are here to capture a skip, not to eat pie, I whispered harshly, although the pie did look tempting, and they had one of my weaknesses, coconut cream pie. Please, Alison begged with a whine that would only build into a tantrum. Fine, get some pie if it will shut you up, but give me some of the coconut cream, I told her. Well, if we're all having dessert, I want a slice of blueberry cheesecake, Mariah chimed in. You guys are unbelievable, I soughed, like I was taking 2 children through the candy aisle during a grocery run. Alison ordered our pie at the front counter while we took a seat at walk-up stools. Do you see Sandra? I quietly asked Mariah. I don't see her. Oh no. What? Sandra is taking Allison's order. My head whipped around so fast that I felt 3 neck vertebrae crack open. A gaunt and tired-looking Sandra Volsick was indeed typing Allison's pie order into the system. Anything else? Sandra asked quietly, and Allison shook her head as she eyed the menu. I don't know. Let me just double-check, Allison muttered. Oh, a la mode is only $1 extra? Why doesn't Allison notice Sandra? I hissed, and Mariah shrugged. Probably because Allison is too busy eyeing the pies in the menu. Indeed, Allison was staring at the menu and the nearby case of pies. But wait, if Allison recognizes Sandra, she might blow the whole case open. I immediately felt my whole body tense up. Oh crap, Mariah watched as Allison pulled out her wallet to pay for the pie. In a moment, Allison would finally be forced to look Sandra in the eye. Mariah and I were sweating, as if we'd eaten the Stampy's Diner meatloaf and were holding in meaty shits. Here you go, Allison said, handing over her credit card. Sandra closed out Allison's tab and went to slice the pie. She didn't notice Sandra, Mariah whispered. I can't tell if that's bad investigative skills or if it's good acting skills. Allison walked over to us and pointed to an open booth. Can we sit in a booth for pie? I feel like pie is a booth item. Allison was genuinely concerned about the best seating arrangement for our incoming pie slices. Did you not notice who was serving you? I asked Allison. I noticed the server, Allison said calmly, a bit confused at what I was asking. Yeah, but who was the server? Mariah countered. I don't know, a server? Allison furrowed her face. Was she also the hostess? The server was Sandra Volsick. I had to grip the booth table in order to not scream the obvious facts. Oh! Allison yelled out loud, which caused a couple of frugal and elderly patrons to turn in slight discomfort. Listen, let's eat our pies slowly, I suggested. We have a half hour till Sandra's shift is up. The slower we eat, the less suspicious we look. Sandra arrived soon with the pies. Thankfully, she did not seem alerted to our true identities. Thank you, Mariah and I chimed in like 2 middle school choir children. I closed my eyes, took a bite, and chewed for what felt like a minute. When I opened my eyes, Allison's plate was half gone. Damn it, Allison, I seethingly roared across the table. You shouldn't expect any willpower from me when it concerns pie, Allison yelled, almost in tears. Again, tables turned to face the melodrama happening at our booth. We can't even do basic things without turning into a local production of Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Mariah seethed. We hung around for the next 20 minutes until it came close to 9. I'll go make the first move, Allison promised the group. Are you sure about that? I asked, trying to sound as confident as I could, considering Allison had obliviously ordered pie in front of Sandra. I got this! Allison stood up from the booth and walked towards the front counter. Mariah and I watched her obsessively like Mariah Carey fans waiting for November 1st. Does she have this, though? Mariah asked, and before I could even answer, we watched as Allison tackled a woman at the counter. Mariah and I quickly ran over like SWAT on energy drinks. I got her! Allison screamed while laying on top of a figure who was probably suffocating underneath Allison's leather. Sandra Volsick, you've missed your court case, I said, hoping Sandra could hear while pinned down by Allison's scrumptious figure. Yeah, let's use scrumptious. Oh yeah, I forgot about that, a voice cried out from behind us. Mariah, Allison, and I turned to see Sandra Volsick standing with an empty plate. What? Mariah then looked back at the mass underneath Allison. Allison rolled over to reveal a mousy-looking woman who was definitely not Sandra Volsick. Oh my gosh! I squealed in a homosexual theater tenor register. Allison, why did you tackle the wrong woman? All these mousy middle-aged drugged-up women look alike. This is unbelievable. I looked at Sandra. Can you reschedule your court date with us? I suppose, Sandra sighed. Allison stood up without helping the waitress that she had tackled and flattened. This sucks. I didn't even use my gun, Allison sighed. That's a good thing? Mariah said, helping the waitress Allison had tackled. No, I love using Richard. Richard? I sighed, wondering if I should have avoided the question. It's the name of my gun. Allison's tone implied that I was the stupid one in this conversation. Named them after the first person I shot, kind of like in memoriam. You killed someone with that gun? Mariah's normal baritone share voice was also now a high squeal register. Maybe Mariah was right. We were putting on a performance of Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. No, I didn't kill him. Alison lowered her head with a chuckle. He only lost a toe. Or 3. With Sandra Volsick dropped off, we next decided to hunt down the drunken Marty Grunkle. According to limited sources, Marty Grunkle was a regular at Gate Bar down on Clifton. Gate Bar was not the place to take your parents or grandparents for dinner. It was more of a place for stripping, bar fights, and drunken sex, and not to judge, but I prefer my drunken, intimate time and stripping in my house. Compared to those who frequented Gate Bar, I was a 14-year-old Quaker farm kid who didn't know anything about masturbation. When Alison, Mariah, and I stepped into Gate Bar, the first noticeable thing was a guy who was swinging around on a pole in the middle of the room. I'll just say between the pole and the guy, there were 2 big poles swinging around the room. We stopped in our tracks like we had just landed on the moon or were in the presence of the Mona Lisa. Oh wow, I'm glad to see it's a guy and not a stereotypical girl, Mariah mused. I know this bar, Alison snapped to her memory, which was less verified than a Twitter troll. Today's Monday. That means it's Many Man Monday. Do you memorize theme nights at bars for fun, or does it naturally come to you like those expensive psychics? Mariah asked. I memorize them so I know what the liquor specials are, Alison said with a sound. Tonight it's vodka drinks and Miller Lite. We're not here to booze up and pass out, I yelled at Alison over thumping house bass. We're here to collect Marty Grunkle. Fine, then go collect him, Alison pouted while moving herself in the eye line of the nearest stripper. Fine, I said, continuing to eye the stripper for a few more seconds before slowly walking to the bartender to ask if Marty Grunkle was currently on the premises. Marty doesn't usually come in on Mondays because of Many Men Mondays, the bartender said initially, as if Many Men Mondays was a national heritage event I should be familiar with. But he's here tonight. He is? My eyes lit up with dollar signs like some cartoon character. Marty said he had a surprise or something. I haven't seen him in a minute. I thanked the bartender and looked around the room. The bar's lighting was dimmed so low that I could only see 3 feet in front of me and the stripper stage, which was lit up like security on a diamond in one of those heist movies. The room was mostly women, since men were stripping, although I scouted a few men dotted around the room. I couldn't see Marty Grunkle. It was like a dark, twisted, pornographic version of Where's Waldo. He's here. The bartender confirmed it, I told Mariah and Alison. Both were still watching the current stripper get down to Come On Feel the Noise, which worked weirdly. Why would he be here for Many Man Monday? Mariah asked, raising her head in confusion. Is he gay? In this economy, a lot of people are trying it out, Alison spouted like an epicenter of fake news. The song ended, and the DJ rapped on the microphone. Next up is a big surprise from a bar regular. Give it up for effort, Marty Grunkle. Wait, he's a male stripper? Mariah gasped. Do you need to differentiate that he's a male stripper? A concerned woman next to Mariah snarled. I was not expecting to run into a social justice warrior at a skeezy Monday night strip club so filthy it made Sodom and Gomorrah look like a Clorox bottle. While Mariah apologized to the woman for her tone-deaf gendering, Alison and I locked our eyes on the stage. Sure enough, Marty Grunkle strolled out from behind a velvet curtain. Marty Grunkle was almost 50 years old, with a beer belly only a mother could love, and a face that looked dented in from a car accident to the face. He had bad tattoos, the kind that were so embarrassing you would rather cut off the limb than show off the tattoo. He was wearing a Speedo spread so thin it was on the verge of snapping. Tufts of gray hair were peeking out of the Speedo. Well, now we know why he's dancing on a Monday, Alison snorted. He might not look the part, but his attitude was quite confident as he moved up to the pole. On the speaker was Dancing Queen by ABBA, which was a choice. But Marty handled the pole with strong hands and casually smooth moves. Marty was probably aware that if he were to truly pole dance, he might end up breaking himself or the pole. So what's the plan? I asked Mariah and Alison. First we have to watch this whole thing, Alison countered immediately. We do? Of course we do, Mariah cried out while dancing to the music. Most of the women in the room seemed disinterested in Marty Grunkle. Mariah and Alison were Marty's biggest fans. I devised a potential plan of attack while humming along. I couldn't resist, it's ABBA. Refusing to hum, sing, move, or dance to ABBA should be a felony. With the song wrapping up, the crowd offered tepid applause, which was somewhere between indifference and pity. Alison pulled out $1 and beckoned Marty Grunkle over. So we're going to tip the man, but we're not going to actually bring him in? I questioned. Typical for us. The stage which Marty Grunkle had performed on was just a couple of feet raised into the air. So when Alison grabbed him by the legs and toppled him off the stage, it wasn't that much of a drop. The whole room gasped, and the DJ did a live record scratch. Alison was now helping Marty to his feet while pushing him to the door. He fell by accident. We'll take him to the hospital, Alison informed the room of ladies. Just get back to watching some hot man action. The drunken room took Alison's advice and turned back to the stage for more man candy. I couldn't tell if they were hungry for more aubergine or if they simply didn't care enough to follow up on the assault-turned-suspicious hospital trip. Is he okay? Mariah asked, which made me turn to Marty. Marty appeared conscious, but limited, to say the least. Let's just hope the police we turn him over to don't ask any specific questions. I then vaulted into humming some more ABBA as we got into the car.